Hey everyone, how's everything going? Today we're going to do a coding challenge. I ran across this when watching some other programming videos. This particular challenge, we will be coding out rock, paper, scissors in C Sharp. Alright, everything is already coded out. I actually had to come back and re-record this video because I had issues with the original recording. So let's get started. All right, we have a C Sharp console application, and I have defined the constants rock, paper, and scissors. The reason I have defined these as constants is because they will not be changing throughout the application, and scissors is going to be scissors regardless of how you spell it. Same thing for paper and rock. Thus, it is easier when coding and is to use a constant because of the fact you're less likely to make a mistake when using that constant versus using the string typed out every time. Now we will go into the main method, and we will first start out with the continue playing is equal to true. And with this, we want it defaulted to true, and that way it will go inside of the while loop. Now, if you want, you could do a do while loop instead of a while loop with this particular one, but this is how I chose to do it. Next, we will output rock, paper, scissors to the console, as well as asking the user for them to enter their choice. The user will enter their choice, and they will have to type out either rock, paper, or scissors, depending on what they type out. If they do not type out rock, paper, or scissors, and let's go back one step. So they'll type it in, and the read line method will then convert it to lowercase. That way it can do a comparison here on this if condition, because we have all of our constants as the lowercase representations of those values. You need to do this because if somebody types an uppercase R and OCK in lowercase, then this condition here will not be satisfied and it will say invalid choice, even though rock with the uppercase R is still a valid choice. So what I have, you're comparing the string to each of the constants, rock, paper, and scissors. And if none of these match, we will output to the console that is a invalid choice. And then we'll call continue. And what continue does is it will skip everything else in the remainder of that loop and go back to the top. And this is kind of like one of those shortcut ways of getting around in a method. In some programming languages, they actually use what is called go to, which will jump to a certain section in a method. This, by using the continue, we don't have to use a if condition or wrap this inside of a if statement or if else statement that will check to make sure that this part is valid. We just know, all right, if we come inside of this if condition, that we're going to exit out and skip over everything else. So it's a way you save from having to use an else statement in this particular scenario. All right, so if they enter an invalid choice, you continue, and then you'll come back up here again and ask them the question, rock, paper, or scissors, or again. If they enter a valid choice, this whole if condition will be skipped over. And then next we will get the computer choice. So if we jump down to the computer choice method, we have a random variable that is being declared with a new random class. And then we have a switch statement, and we want to get the next random value between 1 and 4. Now, the documentation, if you're not careful, you may miss this. So actually, this will produce a value of 1, 2, or 3, even though you're giving it 1 and 4. The way this next method works is you give it the minimum value that can be returned, which in this case is a 1, and then you give it the maximum value minus 1 that can be returned, which in this case is 4. So 4 minus 1 is 3. Thus, you have 1, 2, or 3 as your options for the switch statement. Continuing on, inside of the switch statement, we have the case statements. So if the case is 1, so if the random value is 1, then you return rock. If the value is 2, you return paper. And if the value is anything else, return scissors. And in reality, the only other value that should be returned would be a 3, and thus why I used it as the default instead of saying case 3 and then having another statement that defines the default scenario. Once that is returned, we come back to our main method and we set the computer choice in value into a variable called computer choice. Then we call the function getResult, where we give it a user choice and a computer choice. Now the getResult will do some computation a little bit. Basically, it checks to see what the two values are. If they are equal, then we return that the result is a tie. If the user picks rock and the computer picks scissors, then the user wins. Same thing if the user picks paper and the computer picks rock, and if the user picks scissors and the computer picks paper. All three of those scenarios means that the user wins. Any other scenario means that the computer wins. Now, I don't necessarily need to use an else statement here. I could write this like this, but because regardless of what happens, I prefer to put, in this particular scenario, put it inside of an else statement, because you have really 3 different conditions that have to be, well, 2 conditions that have to be checked, and if anything else, then you do the else statement at the end. All right, from that getResult, we return a string back to our main method, and that goes into the string result. Then we output the outcome of the game, where we, to the console, that is. You have you chose, and then you insert the value here for the user choice and the computer chose, and then you display the choice that the computer made. The result is, and then that's where you would have the that's where you would have the tie, you win or the computer win displayed, and then it asks you if you want to play again, yes or no. Depending on what you type in, you come to this if condition. If the play again is equal to n or no, and mind you, these are being converted to lowercase before they come to this if condition. If either of those are set, then we change the, if any of these values match what is here in the if condition, then we change the continue playing equal to false, which will then cause this while loop to exit, which will then exit the game. That being said, now that we have went through all of the code, let's play. We're going to do .NET run. If I can type .NET correctly. All right, and here we have our rock, paper, scissors. And so as you see right here on line 16, this is where we are. So rock, paper, scissors. So let me put in uppercase. I'm gonna put in uppercase rock. All right, and as you see, I chose rock, the computer chose scissors. I won. Do I want to play again? I enter Y for yes. This time I'm going to enter paper with mixed case values. And as you see, it still works because the to lower is converting that whole string to a lowercase. I chose paper, the computer chose scissors, the computer won. All right. And one more time we will do enter Y for yes. And then we'll do scissors. Actually, let's make a mistake. Let's just type, we'll type chicken in here for this time. And as you see, we get invalid choice because it doesn't match rock, paper, or scissors. This time we'll type something valid. So we'll type scissors. I chose scissors. The computer chose paper. I win. Do I want to play again? No. So type in, and as you see, the application exited out. So that wraps things up for this video. The source code for this application will be down in the description if you want to download it and utilize it, as well as all the other coding challenges that I've done previously. A link to that will be available as well. Questions or comments, please drop those below. Also, please subscribe if you're interested in this content, as new videos come out every week. Until next time, peace out.